But of all of that, I knew nothing just then. I only knew we'd killed our enemy's shining young champion, and we must see to it that another champion did not rise to take his place. Indeed, I couldn't wait to lead the charge. I went to the Sanhedrin, reminded them I'd already had some success in rounding up Christians, and explained to them my ideas for setting up a network of terror, and volunteered my services to lead the far-reaching campaign that I urged them to wage. And when they saw that, young though I might be, I was a man of force and purpose, they were delighted to furnish me with the arms and the men and the documents that I needed. And there I was, as was so truly said of me, breathing out threatenings and slaughter, making sure that wherever the new faith went, the sword of the pursuer would soon follow. And that was what in time caused me to set out with a company of armed men on the road to Damascus, that silver spoon on green velvet, as someone has called it, that city waiting for me at the end of the journey that would change my life forever. It was 150 miles as the crow flies, but the way was by no means direct. In fact, it was an 8 days journey that followed a dusty caravan route north to Galilee, around Mount Hermon, and across the dry plains. And a difficult journey it was, what with my haste and impatience, the sore-footed animals, and the terrible heat of high summer. But when at last the city drew near, the sun was fierce and the dust thick, but I rejoiced to see in the far distance the faint outline of the city, and I had just paused to point it out to one of my men when suddenly everything became very still, and I found myself gazing up into a pure and dazzling light. And even as I watched the secret door of the universe open wide, the strength went out of my legs and the sight from my eyes, and I fell to the ground, feeble and terrified, and wondering if I was still a part of the present world. And then I heard a voice, serene and majestic, but with the tone of a father dismayed by a willful child. Shaul, Shaul, lama tirfani. Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Now this was the strangest thing, for though I still officially believed it could only be the God of Moses, there being, as I knew no other, I asked, "Who are you, Lord?" "I am Jesus whom you persecute. It is hard for you to kick against the goad." Well, there it was, the terrible truth, the truth I'd fought against, the truth that all of those imprisoned victims of mine had been right to accept, the truth that had brought me to my knees, the truth of the one who had said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." I was astonished. I was ashamed. I was terrified. I was trembling, but even then, I knew that I was being called, and that, wrong and wicked though I had been, I would have my part to play in the colossal drama that had begun to unfold on a cross in Jerusalem. "Lord," I said, "what would you have me to do?" "Arise, go into the city. There it will be told to you what you must do." And that was all. The whole experience was over in the twinkling of an eye. Indeed, my men were almost as astonished as I was. And wondered what strange god or sorcerer had chosen this lonely path to address me in mysterious and disembodied words and leave me blind as a stone. And yet they took good care of me. They led me by the hand into Damascus to the house of a certain Judas on what the Romans called the Vicus Rectus, a very fitting name, the street called Straight, for straight would the Lord make my path from that point on. And for 3 days I saw nothing, I touched no food or drink, but finally a man named Ananias came to me and laid hands on me and became the channel through which my sight was restored. And when that vision came to pass, I was as overjoyed as Ananias was mystified. Lord, he said, I have heard what great evil this man has done to your saints in Jerusalem. He had heard correctly, but the Lord responded, go your way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me. For he will bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. And I will show him what great things he must suffer for my name's sake. A chosen vessel. That's what I was. I hadn't chosen him. He had chosen me. And into the vessel of my being, he would pour his Spirit, and his Spirit would lead me to do great things in bearing his name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. I, who had been an instrument of destruction, would now become a vessel of grace and truth. A mighty work was beginning.